There we go. Hello, everyone. How you doing today? Just waiting a little while so I can check if the audio is all working. There we go. Good. Sweet. How's everyone doing? Good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you're from. Hi there. Favorite firstborn, the MJ01. Welcome to the chat. Patrick still likes strawberry jam. Hey there, Michaela, Anna. What's up? Sorry to wake you all up. I was putting one at this time, so it was fair to anyone who's a patron from the other side of the world. But it looks like is there anyone who is from uh, a time zone where this is not rubs the sleep out of your eyes time? Hey there, the criminal in the chat, yawning. Ah, yeah, I'm just waking up as well. 5 a.m. Jesus Christ. So you're over in the States, I'm assuming. That's that's pretty hardcore. Fair enough. 10 p.m. Okay, whereabouts are you, Anna? Did you tell me this last stream? I don't remember. I have a terrible memory. Apologies. 5 a.m. 5 a.m. So we've got two 5 a.m.s, 10 p.m. Yeah, for me, it's 11. Wisconsin, USA. Oh, catching a flight anyways. Where are you headed? Almost finished editing my day from Boyinaband being 100% done with Roomy for 8 minutes video. Is there 8 minutes of that? We recorded a couple more videos when I was down with Roomy, so I'm not sure if that's going up or not. I don't know how funny it was. We might have a couple more for the 8 minutes to fill out if necessary. 11 a.m. UK here. Hell yeah, UK fam. Oh, New Zealand, ages away. Yeah, that makes sense then. So this one's for you, Anna. I'm headed to the Philippines for a funeral. Oh, sorry to hear that for your firstborn. Philippines I've heard is a nice place though. 7 p.m. in Tokyo. Hey there, Meow Meow Cat. So we have a few people on the other side of the globe here. Yeah, the other side, because the world is flat. It's on like the underside of the globe. What do the flat Earth people think is underneath the globe? Is it just like that's an interesting thought. I never really considered this. Anyway, how's things in Tokyo? And if you want to get things started, if you have any questions or anything, as per, just leave them in the chat, and that will help get the conversation rolling. I think this will be a fun ride. I've been continuing. For anyone who wasn't here last time, I've been trying this routine where I record a video in the morning, like one of the shorter videos, kind of like if you watch Pewds, kind of like what he does, trying just thinking of something and recording it on the day. I've been doing that for coming up to a month now, just as a test to see how it makes me feel, to see whether I make anything good doing that. Yeah, I've been continuing doing that. It's been getting a bit more difficult because most of the videos I tend to want to do. Excuse me. Had a big breakfast. They tend to be quite research heavy, so that's quite exhausting to do day after day after day, versus doing something like watching memes or playing games. So I've got to think of some way to make it a little more fun if I want to do something like that, or just do it less frequently. That's probably going to be the thing I do. 6 a.m. in Boston after getting out of work at 11:30 last night and back in 2 hours. Oh Christ! Well, you are a brave human. that's a late night. Wait, early morning. Sorry. Turtles on the underside of the globe. Globe. What do they call it? I don't know what flat Earth people. They're weird. My neighbors are having a barbecue, so my entire house smells like smoke. So I'm hiding in the laundry room. Yeah, but is it delicious smelling smoke? Because I love like the smoky barbecue flavor stuff. But that's a little inconsiderate of them, hiding in the laundry room. Glad to see you're active on the internet again. Yay! Yeah, on Rumi's channel at least. Well, it's a start. Yeah, it's nice seeing it's nice seeing Rumi's comments filled with people talking about me. I don't know. It's probably because I haven't posted anything forever, but yeah, it's I like hanging out with Rumi and filming fun stuff like that. That's okay. I'm a sleep-deprived glutton for punishment. Understood. Well, you do in your own time, my friend. Trying to think what else I've been up to. How many people we got? 11. If it doesn't go much above this, I think there's a way to get everyone in the live chat so we can actually have like a face-to-face conversation. But I wanted to make sure it wasn't excluding anyone. So we'll give that a minute to see how it feels. Your last live stream, I listened to the first 10 minutes during a work meeting. When the meeting was over, I had to return to the factor and stop listening. I was able to hide the headphones under my hair. Nice. That's what long hair is for. See, people question it. Nah, it's because if I want to, I can just see. Doesn't even look like I'm wearing them. How often do you get to see Rumi? I go down to see him. Like I'll stay for a week or two or something like that. Sometimes longer if I grab an Airbnb in Brighton. But like 3 or 4 times for relatively long periods of time a year, probably. But we talk online all the time, so yeah. So Rumi's probably my best friend at this point. Poor Rumi. Our lodger is a big Rumi fan. We can fangirl together when you're on his channel. Oh, thank you, Michaela. So Rumi does have fans. Wow. I thought he just had people that complained that his impressions were bad and like hate subscribed. That's something that he has to deal with a lot. A lot of people consider him the impressions guy still. He's been doing a good transition into doing stuff that actually gets his personality across a bit more. Where are we? 1309 in St. Petersburg. I'm supposedly to study right now, but good priorities. My St. Petersburg is Russia, right? My Russian friend. I hope I'm not an idiot by saying that. I would like to say before this chat gets too crazy that I decided to send my daughter to a Sudbury school in Tokyo after seeing your videos a while ago. I hope you did additional research, but that's really cool that it inspired you to take a step like that. And statistically, from what I read, that could be a good thing. Like, it looks like it's probably a good thing. Obviously, it will depend on the school and everything, but that's really cool that it helped you to consider that option. Like, I wish that I had considered that option. That's really cool. So, are there many schools like that in Japan? Like, I've not looked that much into the education over there. In case anyone else brings it up, the Dan Bulls congratulations mistrack. I haven't decided like how to deal with that. Like, there's some stuff to think about there. Like, I get a bit confused with how to deal with that kind of stuff in public, so I've got to think more. His impressions are bad, but it's a plus. Some of them are good, some of them not. Yeah, Rumi's he's a brilliant singer. I can at least give him that. Do the flat earthers still think of gravity as pulling towards the center, or is it just pulling down? That's a good point. It's down equally across the entire plane. Man, wouldn't it be cool if the world was flat to just go to the edge? Like, that would be such a good sci-fi. And just like look over the edge of the world, like the scale of that drop. Oh, why has there not been a movie with that in? That would be so like epic in the not in the gamer sense, in the sense of like high fantasy novels epic. If it's just down, then you can teleport by drilling a hole through the earth and dropping someone through. When I was a kid, I used to think, yeah, if I ever want to visit China, I could just dig a huge hole and just jump in, and then if I just push myself at the right bit at the end, I'll just pop out, and then I'm in China. I'm ignoring the magma in the center. So yeah, good logic. I mean, the lodger is pretty young and naive, so yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you have to be like that to like rue me. Good morning there, Fanny Godmother. Where are you from? We've got people all over the world today. Oh, still 11 of us? Let's crash Meow Meow Cat's neighbor's barbecue. Hello there, Neela Ducky. Good call. I am really in the mood for barbecue, even though I just had a massive breakfast. And good morning, Badriana. I was having a conversation about Game of Thrones recently. No spoilers, don't worry. But there is a character called Poliver, and I was thinking that's just just the name Oliver with a consonant. And now we have Badriana in the chat. I've not heard of a Badriana before. Where is that name from? Or have you just put a B in front of the name Adriana? Yes, quite a bit of research and convincing of my Japanese husband was involved. Understood. No, just a few really. The education system here is quite smothering, actually. I've heard that the Asian, well, from what I researched about just China particularly, the system over there is kind of scary. I actually interviewed this one girl who was going to school over there. I never ended up using it for a video, but it was kind of scary how obsessive it seemed that the culture was, like focusing on education, having no time for friends or for hobbies or being a child. I don't know. It felt quite overwhelming, and I was very glad that I was not brought up in that particular environment. I'm glad I had time to play video games growing up. They're some of my best memories, I think. I don't have many good memories from school. If it were flat, someone would get pushed over. Yeah, that would be how if the world were flat, you'd have executions off the edge of the world, wouldn't you? If the gods want you to live, you will land on the other side. Wouldn't that be cool? Like two civilizations on different sides of the Earth. If it was flat, there's the sci-fi story. My last name starts with a B, so thought it was punny. Okay, so Badriana is a punny version of Adriana, just like Poliver in Game of Thrones. I thought it was like a 3-year-old had named this child. Just take a regular name. Not Oliver, it's Poliver. Good morning from NYC. Hi there, Catherine Ann. Welcome to the chat. I haven't been to New York since I got my tattoo from Casey. A nice place. I really like looking up at the skyscrapers and kind of having that weird vertigo from the ground. They're ridiculous. The criminal just pulled out pork loin and chicken for barbecue dinner tonight. Thanks for the cravings, Cat. There we go. Inspiration happening there. Good call. Meow meow cat ditto about school. That sucks. Does anyone have like many positive memories from school? I think for me, most of it is just kind of, there's some like hanging out with friends and stuff like that, I guess. But yeah, I don't actually have that many specific. I have a bad memory in general, though. I'm from Rhode Island, New England. New England? What's wrong with the old England? That's near New York and stuff, isn't it, as well? Just really throwing out how bad my geography is there. Oh, hey, what's the reasoning behind your rainbow ring? I tried doing my own research beforehand, but sad face. Also, do you wear it all the time or just for vids live streams? I wear it all the time. The story is when I went to my first ever gig, I was like 14. I went with my friend, and he was really confident at talking to people, and I was really shy. And there were these two girls who would come to the show as early as we had, and my friend just walked up to one of them and just started talking because he was like that. And I walked up and like thought I'll try being friendly. So I said to the other girl, "Oh, I like your ring," and she was like, "Oh, thanks, you can have it." So I was like, "Oh, that's really nice." So I wore it ever since. And it snapped a couple of times. It snapped and broke, and I bought a new similar one because it's kind of the same principle. I thought it doesn't matter that it's not the initial thing. Like the principle is just like, oh, that's a nice reminder that people can be nice. Whenever people bring that up, it reminds me that people can be nice. So yeah, there's also like, I don't know, a lot of people are going to think of it as an LGBT thing, and obviously every time it comes to saying something sincere about one of these things, I'm so tempted to make an edgy joke. But yes, it's good to support that kind of thing. So there's also that positive side effect as well. But yeah, for me personally, it's because someone gave me that ring and they didn't have to, and yeah, just very sweet. And yes, I wear it all the time. Actually, my senior year of high school, my school was featured on Oprah for having the highest dropout in North America. Wow. Did you drop out? Or were you one of the 0.1% who made it through? That's impressive. Do you have many good memories from the United Arab Emirates from outside of school? I used to visit a lot about 15 years ago. I remember the Gold Club. I don't remember a Gold Club. There was one that in the United Arab Emirates, there's a lot of weird shaped buildings. So, for instance, the airport, one of the airports, is shaped like a plane. Like it's really cool. There was one called the Yacht Club. I remember my dad. I think he had a meeting with one of the higher ups in his business, and we got to go to this yacht club, which was shaped like a yacht. It's really cool. And they were doing fireworks there, and there was this kind of party on the golf course. And me and my sister were just laying down, looking up at the sky with these fireworks that just felt like they were pinning us to the ground because of the scale of it and everything. That's a really positive memory I have from the United Arab Emirates. I have another brilliant one from when I went to. I had a friend who lived in this compound with like 40 other families, the houses all around the edge, and then this kind of garden in the center with a pool and like trees and mini little park kind of area that was communal. Excuse me. And we played this game called 40-40 with a bunch of the kids from the same area, and you had one person in the center with this kind of this pole that you had to touch. If you touch the pole, you win. But if you get touched by the person defending the pole, you become like another defender. So over time, you get a lot. It's like a kind of zombie situation. You get a lot of people and only a few people left trying to touch it. So that was really fun. Just like in the middle of the night, and maybe the only other. We also played that out in the desert because we had a school trip out into the desert, and I remember because everyone was playing 40-40, and I just kind of left the camp and wandered off into the desert because I was kind of curious about what that would be like. Just in the middle of the night, this freaking 9-year-old kid wandering off into the desert. I just remember looking at the camp and then looking at the desert thinking, I could just keep going. I didn't. I went back and got demolished by mosquitoes that night. No one else did. Apparently my blood is delicious for any of you vampires out there. What else we got? Yeah, I just went on a little memory rant there. I just moved here. I'm still not used to it. Catherine. Oh, NYC. What are you more used to then, Catherine? Change of plans. The criminal is hosting themes bad memories from school, bring dental braces and awkwardness. As you can tell, I never had dental braces. So, but awkwardness I can bring for sure. I just became a patron yesterday and I'm instantly blessed with a live stream. Well, aren't you the fortunate one there, Adriana? Adriana with the punny B. Patrick likes strawberry jam. Says, fun fact, my 12-year-old sister is obsessed with Don't Stay in School. Our education system is a disaster, so we can relate to every single line. Well, I both think that's very cool and very sad that the system is still that bad that she feels that kind of relation to the song. I think that's so cool that I've heard a lot of stories of kids who have talked to their teachers about it, and they've found some kind of connection with their teacher because the teacher agrees. Like that's it. I think that kind of stuff, being so frank about something so important, helps to build a lot of respect. And so, in a lot of cases, it's encouraged teachers to start teaching things that are actually valuable from a lot of the emails and messages I've got, which is so cool. That's probably the most valuable thing that has happened as a result of what I've done. I wouldn't say that I have done. It was bloody lucky that it got the traction it did. But I have great memories from high school, only because it was an agricultural school and I was surrounded by animals and got to choose what I wanted to do. 3 separate sections: animal, plant, and mech. That's really cool. Like, again, similar principle to Sudbury School. If you get to do what you want, it can be more enjoyable. That's really cool. You got to spend so much time with animals there. If you're a fan of animals, unlike me, I hate animals. I want to go kick my cat after this is done. I translated it to her. You could say you translated it to her or for her. Translating it to her would imply that you were there. But that's really cool that you translated it. I think there might be there's translated versions of Don't Stay in School in a lot of languages now. I'm assuming that they're good. I just kind of accept them in the YouTube system because I'm hoping that people aren't gonna just change the captions to "I'm stupid. I'm a stupid hair with long hair. I'm stupid." Maybe there's some Czech subtitles that say something like that, and I have no clue. Graduated with honors from the school that has the highest dropout rate. I feel like that's some kind of special life achievement award. Like you played on extreme hard Iron Man mode and still graduated with honors. That's bloody impressive. Well, bloody done, Jesus. How did you manage that? Like, what were other people struggling with that you managed to push through? Golf club, yeah, that's the one. Golf club. Yeah, the golf club is really pretty in the UAE. As is the what's the one? Is it the Burj Khalifa building? It's this huge kind of curved tower. It's like they have such cool architecture over there, and it goes up like so fast. They have a lot of money to be paying people. New England is in the northeast of the US. If you find Boston on the map, you basically found Rhode Island as well. Gotcha. That was in the vague right area. I only had 101 kids graduating in my class. Our school was wonderful and kids actually cared about going and learning. I ended up getting a scholarship for a high MCAS score, fully paid tuition. That's really cool. I remember reading one thing when I was doing all the research for that stuff, that class size, like the amount of kids in the class, doesn't have a significant effect on the educational outcomes, which was fascinating because so many people talk about you should have like 10 kids in the class instead of 40. But they found that the quality of the teacher is much more important than the class size. And I think Singapore was one of the examples they gave. They had large class sizes, but they paid the teachers a lot more. And it kind of makes sense when you think about it, because when you reduce a class size, you have to hire more teachers. And the teachers that haven't already been hired are generally worse teachers. So you bring in worse teachers, so it kind of maybe averages out. So that's an interesting thought. I'd never really considered that before doing that research. And Desert Rock Festival. Saxon were going to play, but they got banned from the country after having lyrics about crusades. I was going to make a joke about, I'm surprised they haven't banned metal over there. They have some weird bans in the United Arab Emirates. They're not. Was that the place where they arrested a gay man for being married or something in the airport? I can't remember. Yeah, very forward thinking. Wow, that's a better story than I was expecting. Glad to hear it about the ring. Also, I don't deliberately put it on this finger so I can do this. It's the finger that it fits best on. It used to be on this one when it was a different ring. Where are we? Also, those edgy jokes, make them all. Gays, am I right? God, I feel like now it's even more edgy because things. I don't know. I don't know how many of you are into the American political stuff, but I've heard all the stuff that's going on in Alabama recently. It's horrible. I just don't know what to do about it. If you complain about how ridiculous it is that abortion is being banned and there's even worse consequences than that, then it's just going to push the people who are for abortion further to the other side. How do you actually encourage those people to think logically about this is not a human yet? This is it doesn't have consciousness. It's just a clump of cells. I don't know how you get the respect of people enough to be able to have that conversation, because I think that conversation is probably the thing that's going to change people if they really have an incentive to think about it. If there is anyone that thinks that abortion maybe that's a bit of a heavy topic to get into this early in the morning, perhaps. But I don't know. I get interested having quite frank conversations about stuff like this. I suppose this is a smaller group of people, so it's less dangerous to be throwing out strong opinions. I'd be curious to have a conversation with someone who believed that abortion was uh, a bad thing in terms of like super early on in um, the pregnancy. Oh yeah, I don't know if that was where that was intended to go. Sorry. Um, where are we? I went to high school in a rural area in Texas. I once heard that we had the highest STD rate in the state. Don't know if it's true, but we did have a daycare on campus. Gotcha. Well, having a daycare on campus is a good thing, at least. It encourages people who have kids to still be able to come to school. But that's sad. I find that stuff that there was a lot of that kind of thing in my school. I didn't not in the Emirates, but in England. It was quite a culture change coming back to England and going to, because in the Emirates I went to a a private school. In England it's messy. They call private schools are public schools, and uh sorry, private schools are called public schools and public schools are called state schools, even though there are no states. Anyway, but yeah, I went to a private school, like a paid school in the UAE, but then I went back to a regular state school in England. So I experienced both sides of that. It's very different, kids. Where are we? Neela, come on over. I always make way too much food. Boston will welcome you all. There you go. Barbecue is being organized. For some reason, I thought you were in your 30s, but the internet says you were born in the 90s? You must have an old soul, lol. I, I don't know where you're looking on the internet. I am in my 30s. Um, and yes, I have an old soul for sure. These kids that today writing 90s in their YouTubers' bios. It's like a weird Davo voice. I'm very tired. Ignore my bad jokes. Good morning there, etched in time. Welcome to the chat. Yes, the translated Japanese version is kind of weird, actually. Oh god, my sister will complain about that if she sees it. She's very picky with her Japanese translations. Most of them are bad from what she has explained. I have pretty good memories of being homeschooled and now being in animation school, but everything in between was murder. Even private Christian high schools are extremely flawed. Yeah, I've heard bad things about religious schools. I'm glad you have good memories of being homeschooled. I feel like that can be very hit or miss. Obviously, it depends on your parents a lot. But statistically, it's better than regular school. Do you fit any of the British stereotypes? Bad teeth, for sure. Um, hating all other cultures and countries, of course. I only like British, specifically English people from my town. Anyone else, I hate. That's a pretty British thing. I'm trying to think of any English stereotypes that I fit other than the teeth. Maybe you guys would be better at filling me in on that. What do I fit stereotype wise? Texas. I moved from Austin. There are some skyscrapers downtown, but overall the buildings are smaller and farther away from each other. Gotcha. I'd love to visit Texas one day. It's a very friendly place. It was a small town in the Bible Belt, so there were a lot of children of drug addicts and very right-wing religious people, so the motivation to try hard for most people was very low. That's sad. The yeah, children of drug addicts. That's got it. That's starting life on freaking hard mode. Jesus Christ, being born addicted to a drug or whatever. I graduated in class of 1000. One of the few good memories I have is going to my first anime convention with my anime club. Hell yeah, so much fun. I remember my first anime convention. I met Veronica Taylor, the original voice of Ash Ketchum from the anime, and she recorded a sound clip of saying "I choose you" and then the name of my band, and we used that in a cover of the Pokemon theme song. I was very, very satisfied with that. Um, I grew up around hardcore evangelicals. I don't think they will ever change. It's very sad, but it's like the gun debate. They would rather die than change their minds. I would love to find out what has made people like. Obviously, there will be some people who have changed their minds, just as there are some people who change their minds about being evangelical. I wonder what makes them change their mind. I think a lot of the time I tried to one of the videos I recorded, which I actually messed up the screen capture. Probably, maybe a good thing. Who knows? Because the topic was on the KKK. I was looking into what made people leave the KKK, what actually encouraged them to change their mind from being this insanely kind of obsessed person. And a lot of the cases, it was some kind of external pressure. So someone, for instance, one of the Grand Dragons, they have very silly names. He was he said all this stuff on TV. There was something he said which the rest of the KKK didn't like, and they all pressured him for it. And so because there was so much hate from that side, he left the KKK. But yeah, because it's finding out that there is dissent within the same group, I think, helped to help that person leave. I'd have to go back and look at some of those examples, but yeah, that's a topic I'm fascinated with. It's so easy to just yell at people about how wrong they are. And like, I'm not saying I'm innocent of never doing that. Sometimes it can be good, I think. I think for some people, if you are logical with it, having a bit of like grit and aggression and passion to your argument might help them. But for a lot of people, it will not. It might push them further away. It's it's messy. People are messy. What do you what to do for Alabama? Donate to pro-life charities. Close to home too. You know, Northern Ireland has worse laws than Alabama still. I didn't know that. I don't know anything about Northern Ireland. I'll have to look into that. Abortion in the morning, abortion in the evening, abortion for supper time. Christ, Catherine, coming in with the edgy jokes in the 11 a.m. in the morning for me. That's waking me up. Bloody hell. Yeah, I'm just going to assume that everyone is fine with that kind of joking. I'm going to be annoyed. annoying and ask my question again. I hope it gets noticed. Have you seen Do Schools Kill Creativity by Sir Ken Robinson? Sorry, I missed that earlier, Badgerno. I have. That was one of the things that I think inspired me to do Don't Stay in School. Like seeing that people cared that much about this kind of topic. He's great. He actually, I was really happy when he said that he agreed with some of the stuff I was saying in Don't Stay in School over Twitter. That was a cool moment. I read a bunch of his book as well. He's got such a entertaining way of writing, Sir Ken Robinson. Very entertaining guy. He comes across kind of like this weird, awkward stand-up comedian, but he's just very knowledgeable on this topic. Yeah, that was a good one of the good TED Talks. I can do the abortion is bad arguments. I don't agree with them, but I've heard enough of them to play that side. I like being devil's advocate. I tend to be a little bit of a devil's advocate. Like whenever I hang out with Rumi, we often kind of play off the other side. Just I think we're naturally drawn to trying to find the problems in problems and stuff. I think that's useful. A lighter topic. Lol, one of your fast raps put me onto G Dragon. Hell yeah, that's real music. What are your favorite songs of his? I love Window, Bullshit, and Black. Good Boy is a really fun song from G Dragon. I'm trying to think which ones I like the most. Coup d'etat was one that I initially didn't really like, but it's grown on me a lot. It has this weird kind of lazy vibe to it, but it's powerful, and the music video is amazing. Also, at the end of one of my videos, the one with the beard, I used a G Dragon song that was only used in a fashion show once. My sister showed me that. It's insanely cool. That one's very cool. Managed to use it without getting demonetized too. A plus, because it wasn't released by the label, so I got away with it. I just thought it was a funny kind of parody to do that because it was used for a fashion show. I'm sure the one person that got that reference appreciated it. Hell yeah, Team 30s then. 87 here. I'm an 87 kid. Hell yeah. Also, I'm a Catherine, spelled the same way. How about that? Is there something about my kind of content that makes Catherines interested? I imagine that when I hear the name Catherine, I imagine either one of those girls that's really focused on their schoolwork, probably ginger, and just very nice, but like very focused on schoolwork, a bit studious, maybe a bit of a nerd, or a horse girl. So those are my two mental images of Catherines. I don't know. What do you guys like have mental images of for a David? Out of interest, who is a David? Before you watched any of my content, if that influenced at all, like what does David do? What's David's deal? All right, stereotypes: being super nice to everyone, especially people you dislike. I think that I don't know if I fit that. Whenever there's someone I dislike, I just try and cut them out of my life, which is also unfortunate because that's what I've been doing with a lot of people I like as well, thanks to the depression. So it's not very easy for people to tell what's going on. But yeah, I try to be nice to people. I think I'm maybe more tactful than some, but not in all cases. I don't think everyone has released diss tracks. I went to a Christian school when I was 10 and I was bullied because my natural hair color is red. Therefore, I am a witch. 21st century, everyone. Oh my god. I thought red hair meant you had no soul, not you were a witch. Sorry. That sucks. Kids are horrible, man. Do you ever plan to come to Japan? You could shoot an absolutely fire diss track here. I've been to Japan a couple of times. I've been thinking about going again. My sister has this weird friend there who I feel might be entertaining in a video, so I'm tempted. But yeah, I've got to think of the right reason to go. A lot of people change their other way as well. My older brother used to be a very liberal left-wing guy, and then he joined the US military. Now he's a very right-wing bitter man. That's a point. That's that's so interesting to me. I guess like if you like the military is going to be a lot of people from, excuse me, rural America and stuff. Maybe more poor people because that's who they target all their recruitment at, right? I haven't got the data to back this up, so I'm not certain. But yeah, if you're surrounded by people with the same kind of principles, it's going to be difficult to find friends who have your own. So if you're not really strong in your principles, it can be easy to fall into going a different direction. But I would imagine that he would be one of those people that would be easier to bring back if he was out of that situation, maybe because he has experienced both sides of the perspectives. I'm not sure. I would like to know again. I'd be so curious to talk about people who have changed their minds, to talk with these people and ask them why. Whether either way, just to understand it. And I'm speaking as if I know the freaking perfect way to run the world. I don't. Yeah, my own grandmother blocked me on Twitter the other day because I liked a meme about Obama. People are hella messy. Oh my god, that's sad. Yeah, my grandma was a little bit racist. That was always fun. She was very good at making apple pie, though. Balances out. Game of Thrones distracted for a sec. Oh, sorry, got distracted for a sec. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones. Got distracted for a sec, barbecue in Boston to prep. Looks like we're all going there, get pissed and plot to save Alabama from the Boyinaband people by pushing them over the earth edge. That's the plan. Do you listen to Joji at all? I don't like that many of the Joji songs. I think it's a bit kind of light for me. I really liked Slow Dancing in the Dark, though. That was a powerful song. I like the arpeggio. I think it's really cool that he's doing what he's doing, though. Like, even if it's not my kind of music, it's chill. It's just that generally I'm not in the mood for, like, if I like chill music, it's rare that I put something on that has vocals. But yeah, very talented guy. I like his videos as well. I like that he experiments. We can be frank here. I believe that life begins at conception and that abortion is wrong because it's punishing the innocent for simply being inconvenient. However, I don't spread hate. People are going to have different opinions, but going around spreading blame and putting others down for not agreeing with you isn't the way to change minds. I can agree with that. I'm curious to understand why you believe life begins at conception when the brain, which kind of defines the consciousness side of life, doesn't form until later. That would I think that would be how I'd phrase the question. Good on you for being straightforward with that in as an environment where we're kind of making fun of that. Maybe I should be a little bit more careful there. Like, I don't want to push other people from being in the conversation at all. Like, no matter how strongly I feel about the issue. See, it's so difficult to talk about something that's so contentious. I think that's why so little gets done. I definitely recommend visiting Austin. San Antonio is cool too. Lots of metal dudes with long hair. So I would fit in. Understood. I imagine like a lot of Pantera with Texas and metal. It's a very cool sound. I have a good friend named so David and Goliath is one of the stereotypes from David. Okay, I can deal with that. I can be that David. I have a good name from David, and he's a big burly bearded guy, just like me. Just like me. I'm big and burly. Sorry. I'm ginger right now, but my natural hair is blonde. I am not a horse girl. Gotcha. So you're not the Catherine from my head. Okay. Oh wait, no, you are, because you are ginger right now. Yes, I got it right. David was my first grade boyfriend, and he killed our class pet, a hissing cockroach named Hissy, by accident. Wasn't a fan of David's for a while. That's fair. That's I wonder how he accidentally killed the cockroach. Well, did you just tread on it? Did you keep it in like a cage or what? I have a really bad joke for you. What do you call a big mess called by Davo? Davo Station. Oh my god. Oh wow. That one made me wince there. Thank you, the MJ. Oh, beautiful. Hey there, Jack Morris. Hope you didn't just come into this really intense discussion about abortion in the morning. Christ, sorry. What a way to wake up. It's good to spend time with people you disagree with if you can keep it civil. Some anti-LGBT stuff in Central Africa is tied up with the idea that white men are trying to tell them what to think. Yeah, and then there's these issues are so complicated, it's insane. I'd love to do something that helps with it, but yeah, again, I don't know how. When it comes to issues that are already this contentious, I feel like being angry doesn't help. Maybe when it comes to issues that people don't care much about, being angry helps people to have an incentive to care because they can see there is some passion. I don't know. I'm just purely guessing. That's just a theory. You should look into hikokomori, shut-ins in Japan. I've been here nearly a decade, and I used to really misunderstand them. But the longer I'm here, the less I want to interact with society, to be honest. Why do you think that you've wanted to um, interact less with society since being there for a decade? Is there something about the culture that does that in Japan? Or is it just your personality changing, do you think? Like, do you think that you would have been the same if you had stayed in the States? I'm curious. But yeah, the hikokomori are fascinating. The like people who choose dating sims over dating and stuff because it's less complicated or whatever. And I, yeah, my mind boggles at the difference there. I imagine there's some similarities between that kind of culture, the hikokomori, and incels. I don't know how familiar you guys are with incels, the involuntarily celibate, as they phrase it. People who uh, they would phrase it as they are too ugly and undesirable to be uh, wanted by the opposite sex or the same sex if they're gay. So they can't get a relationship, so they can't have sex. So hence involuntarily celibate. But there's a lot of kind of hateful and angry stuff that goes around in those kinds of communities when they're cut off and only interact with similar people to them on the internet. I imagine hikokomori would probably be a similar kind of breeding ground for those kinds of ideas. um, I like you. You talk about really interesting things. Well, thank you, Anna. I'm glad that you find them interesting and not just horrifically offensive. I want to try and talk about important things a lot of the time. It gets exhausting after a while, but I think like being able to talk about it frankly and having input from other people. I I have a sense of trust that anyone of you who is willing to willing to support my stuff has probably watched a significant amount of it to get a feel for my kind of personality and viewpoints. So you, I trust that you will trust me to not be an ass if I say something that's wrong. Like that you'll give me the chance to explain why I think something or to change my mind if I've been ignorant. I think that's why I feel more comfortable saying stuff like that in this scenario. Um, were you a fan of Chris Cornell? Today is the second anniversary of his death. R.I.P. I know you're a big fan of LP and Chester, and they were friends, I believe. Yeah, I think he said it was his best friend. Um, he had a spectacular voice, Chris Cornell, really gritty. I like the track that he did with Rage Against the Machine. I was never really into I think Soundgarden, right? That was his band. Never really into them, but he had a spectacular voice. And anyone that made Chester happy is good in my book. Yeah, I actually woke up to a discussion, but it's actually super nice waking up to your stream. Thank you, Jack. Welcome to the stream, however intense the conversation is. We used to pass him around during reading time, and David had. Okay, talking about the cockroach again here. We used to pass him around during reading time, and David had it on his hand and moved around to sit more comfortably on the floor and crunch. First grader wails all around. Oh my god, imagine being the teacher in that scenario. Like you're trying to teach kids not to be afraid of bugs, you know. And they're like, oh, come on. He said, it's just a friendly little cockroach. He won't hurt you. And all the kids like, okay, okay. And then over time, they start to think, oh, this isn't so bad. He's just a little bug. And then like, yeah, weeks go by and weeks go by. And then, ah! Oh, I feel sorry for that teacher. A lot here is very topical and the social rules are very strict. So a lot of people don't have an outlet for their emotions or creativity, since being different is bad. So many people just slowly give up. That's the negative side to the Japanese culture. Isn't that fascinating? Because they're like, it's as a Westerner looking into Japan, I see it as such a breeding ground for creativity and different ideas and weird shows and like One Punch Man. How could One Punch Man have come out of England or America? It couldn't. It's so weird. Like it's so influenced by Japan. And yet there is this clearly, like what you're describing, there is this sense like the salaryman situation and office lady, isn't it? OL. My sister taught me that. The people whose lives are focused on business, so much so that they don't have time for their family and they will just give up. That's fascinating. Those people who are creative must be so creative. Maybe it really polarizes that or something. I don't know. I like frank discussions. Me too. Because I feel like this is your community. Everyone on the Patreon is kind of like a safe space. Everyone here is nice and supportive, even though not everyone necessarily has the same opinion. That's something I worry about if you build a community. I tried it once or twice before with, like, I made something called the Home Loaf on Facebook. I'm not sure how many people remember that. There was intended to be a place where a bunch of people can find other creative people. And there were some positives. Someone found their now husband on there and wife. But so that's pretty cool. There were some good things to it, but a lot of that stuff kind of ends up in drama and like civil wars going on. I really want to find a way to build larger scale communities without it having those kinds of problems, but whilst encouraging creativity and discussion of important things. I guess it would only be possible if I tried things, if I tried building things, but I don't know. It takes a lot of effort, and I imagine I would have to be very involved in that. I think, yeah, maybe in the future, I'd really like to find a way to make something that's similar to the kind of vibe I'm getting here. But again, maybe if we did this kind of stuff here long enough, like it would start. The more you do things, the more you start to get little annoying things about other people in the community that build tension or something. Maybe that's part of the problem. If you're spending too much time with people, then it becomes easier to be a bit harsher. I don't know. My daughter's old English teacher in preschool was called Dave Love. In Japanese, it's Deburabu. Your sister will find that funny. I thought the same thing. Dave Love. Wow. Someone stuck with a name as cool and sexy and romantic as Dave Love. And then I'm here with David Brown. Brown. Brown is a color of dirt and poo. Brilliant. Thank you, Mike. I don't know what my ancestors were doing. Clearly wasn't very pleasant. They are cute little bugs, unless they're freaking huge roaches. I've seen massive ones. They're freaky. I'm not a fan of bugs. I'm not a fan of roaches. There were a lot of them in the Emirates. I went to VidCon in LA, and there were no hotels near the place that were affordable or free because they were all taken up. The only place left was this tiny little motel quite a way away. I got in there and I found a cockroach scuttling under the cupboards. I thought, this is the full experience of getting a proper motel from America here. So at least I got that. Excuse me. VidCon was good though. Jack Morris, I agree. Seems like one of the most mature and thoughtful communities on YouTube. Is that because there's 13 people in it? I don't know. Yeah, I really worry about trying to keep my community like that whilst also expressing myself. Because, I don't know, I love edgy jokes. I love things that kind of, you have to trust that the person is not an ass in order to understand the joke. And I like the idea of trusting people. I feel like there's a lot of empathy in jokes about, for instance, making fun of the poorest people in the world. Like to be horrible to those people is just you have to. I feel like there is an amount of understanding that they are in the worst situation, and then to make fun of that is just like it's so horrific that it's ridiculous. That's why I think I find it funny. Like, I don't think I could find that funny if I didn't care as much about those people. I don't know. Maybe other people don't think in the same way. I've been thinking a lot about that, like how much, yeah, expressing your sense of humor in a public way is a messy thing when it comes to those types of jokes. But yeah, those jokes can sometimes. My point was they can sometimes lead to potentially bringing in people who do not have the same types of empathy. Who knows? Like people who just don't see them as jokes or see them as jokes in a different way. Like I don't know. I just want to be able to express myself, man, just like anyone. Um, it's mainly weird because it's so oppressive and suffocating. People cut themselves off and stay in their head all day. All kinds of weird stuff is bound to fall out. That's a good point. Like if you're not talking to many other people, then the stuff that you do create is going to be very unusual because it was very unique to you. Maybe that's an interesting point. You know, Home Loaf is still going, right, on Discord. It's pretty dead, but it's still there. I did not know it was still going. That's cool. I guess people supporting you on Patreon really know your lyrics and kind of agree with your opinions already, or at least open to them. I haven't shared all of my opinions. I don't think I've talked about abortion, for instance, on my channel, but I kind of just trusted that you guys would be okay discussing stuff like that, even joking about stuff like that, because I've joked about pretty serious stuff in the past. I don't know, but yeah, like it's certainly a biased group of people in here. Anything that involves people is bound to go off the rails eventually. Sorry, my 4 a.m. thoughts are dark, lol. Yeah, every single thing that we will ever do is bound to go off the rails eventually. Suppose we all die. Positive thoughts. Online wars, that's just people. They're messy. It happens in all groups of people. Yeah. Brown is a color of chocolate and coffee. Shut up. Yeah, that could be it. Maybe my ancestors were. What do the Starbucks people call them? Haven't they got names for the? Is it the baristas? Or have they called them something like, I don't know, coffee experts? They give them some special name. Yeah, maybe my ancestors created were chocolatiers. Who knows? I don't like chocolate though, so I'm probably insulting their name. White chocolate is great though. Have you listened to Mongolian metal? The song Wolf Totem by The Who is really good. I have. That made me very happy that it existed. I wouldn't listen to it that much, but I'm just glad that it exists. There's a few bands like that where it's so ridiculous. I'm glad that a lot of people are into it, even though I wouldn't listen to it more than a couple of times unless I was like at a festival and they're playing and I'm like, let's go see the Mongolian metal band. I wanna try some Travulan throat singing, whatever it was the technique is called. I used to have Brown as my surname. I married out. Now I have to spell both my names to call centers. Careful what you wish for. That sucks. Yeah, that's the positive with David Brown. Everyone spells that right. Living things use energy within their cells. Living things take in nutrients, such as eating food or absorbing materials through a cell membrane. As far as something being alive goes, the brain doesn't need to be developed yet. The heart doesn't need to be beating yet. On day one, they are already living cells. The cells have their own DNA. Blood that develops can be a completely different type than the woman's, proving that what is growing is not, in fact, the woman, and not her body to do with as she pleases. I can understand that differentiation there, but everyone should do their own research and come to their own conclusions. Good on you for explaining your thoughts. I guess that's the big difference that we have. Perhaps the thought that like my kind of definition of a life that I would care about enough um, to think should not be killed is someone who has a functioning brain. I think this is. I would have to think way more about it to be completely sure. Like, um, but I would imagine there's a lot of people who think that, at least. Like, when the brain is developed enough to have conscious thought, that is when it is a human life. Whereas you're expressing, like, it doesn't matter if it's a conscious life, it only matters if it's a living life. And I'm trying to understand, with that logic, would that mean that eating plants is also wrong because those are living cells? And if you cut a plant to eat it, that would be killing it. Now, I want to understand this. Like, that's my initial thought to that train of thought. Like, since everyone here probably knows Spectrum, I feel like there's the people here probably aren't homophobic. Lol, that's nice. Precisely. Like, that's why I thought people would probably understand that I was joking whenever I make those kinds of jokes. Me too. I've got a really dark, twisted sense of humor. Okay, good to know. I've attracted like. Barristers, thank you. Etched in time. I thought it was. Meow Meow Cat, will you be watching the opening ceremony for the 2020 Olympics? Sheena Ringo is one of the directors. Do you follow her work at all? I have never heard of Sheena Ringo, and I didn't even know the 2020 Olympics was coming up. I haven't paid much attention. But I've watched most of the ceremonies, I think, before. Usually someone on Twitter will be like, oh, it's happening. I'm like, oh, may as well give it a look. But yeah, I don't know Sheena Ringo. What is her work? OMG, I love this stream. Everyone here is so nice. Love you guys. That's cool to see. As soon as you said that, I probably have to go pretty soon. I'll give it another 5 minutes. But, so we can wrap up. Any final questions, fellas, or final thoughts before I head off? I've got to do some recording. I'm feeling pretty good about some of the recordings I've done. I've got a couple of editors who've been working for me recently, who are both good, which is really helpful. And they've done a good job making some of the videos funny. Abortion argument. Going down the functioning brain argument has problems are a disability. That's a good point. E.g., is someone with a neuro impairment less alive than a typical person? Maybe they are. There are different definitions. Like, alive is not you are not either alive or not alive. And I suppose that, like, the first cell, like the first neuron, might be the definition of being alive or not alive. But like beyond that, you've got different scales of alive. It's such a weird concept. But then if you start discussing it like that, then people might start to think you're talking about some kind of eugenics thing. And that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just trying to understand the scale. It's so messy and complicated. The definition of life is such a really difficult thing to get your head around. Now, here's the important questions, guys. We've been talking about all this other stuff, but here we go. Meow Meow Cat. How tall is PewDiePie? Now, there we go. PewDiePie is just as tall as me. Definitely. Over 6 foot, maybe 7 foot. Who knows? Like, I think, yeah, he has very, very tall shoes. Put it that way. Excited we might get some videos soon. Me too. I really want to start releasing them. I'm just getting a few ready, so when I can release, I can release more than one thing. I think it's a question of whether when a fetus is capable of feeling pain. That's another interesting point. So if someone was incapable of feeling pain, would that make it okay? It's kind of, it feels a bit scary to be talking this straightforwardly about this issue. I'm again just trying to understand it in people's perspectives. To people with surnames like Brown complaining about their surnames, try living with the surname Streka. I'm going to butcher this with the accent. Strekalovskaya. I can't do the accent, sorry. Strekalovskaya. Is it Strekalovskaya? Has a nice flow to it, Strekalovskaya. Yeah, I love being Russian. No, save me, please. Yeah, there's negatives to Russian names when it comes to, and like any name that is not quite straightforwardly English when it comes to spelling it out in a lot of the countries I've lived in, at least. Hey there, Swiftest Cat. Welcome to the chat. Sorry that you joined us. Like I'm going to be leaving in like 5 minutes, but you did ask how tall are you, which is another really important question. I'm just over 6 foot. I'm a tall man. I think I'm quite pleased with that because that's one of those things that a lot of people judge you on. It's isn't like height privilege one of those ones that people don't really talk about, but it's significant. Most CEOs, for instance, are taller than the average person and stuff like that, which is kind of sad that height has that significant of an effect on your success in business. But clearly, it has an effect on people. Is there any new electronic music you've been into lately? Hmm. Must Die. My mate Must Die. He dropped a song called, what's it called? Let me check. Is it Bliss 2K? Yes, that was it. A song called Bliss 2K by Must Die. Oh, that's so cool. It's like this combination of hardstyle and dubstep, and it's really weird and heavy. And I heard that, and like that kind of inspired me. That it's got this kind of, I don't know, for people who are not massive EDM nerds like me, hardstyle has some really kind of distorted lead trancey synths, like really powerful, uplifting synths. And he produced them really well in that song. They sound, I don't know, it's the kind of thing that gets the hairs on my arm going up, goosebumps. I love that kind of music. But yeah, he did a good job of combining that with like some GABA hardstyle elements and making it really hard hitting and aggressive. That's my kind of thing. I like it when I find some electronic music that hits a little harder than normal, either in like powerful, strong melodies or really gritty sound design. There's not much left, I feel, now after the whole dubstep wave. They kind of did a whole bunch of at least the most obvious things to do, which are that feel new and heavy then. So it's hard to find ways to make EDM hit hard in a new way. Same with metal for me, at least. I think I just get bored of things too easily. um, Everything is on a spectrum. If you would prioritize a 5-year-old child over a 12-week-old fetus, and you understand the argument, you're just disagreeing about the details. That's interesting. No apologies necessary, favorite firstborn. I really, again, it's being the person who is able to honestly express their opinion in a room full of people with differing opinions is not an easy thing. So I appreciate it, and it helps us all to understand the argument. And if we're going to come to, if anyone is going to come to some kind of agreement, or like agreeing to disagree in some specific way, at least you can understand what it is you're disagreeing on that way. um, yeah. So I don't think it got too heated. I think we've done reasonably well keeping this civil. I appreciate you expressing your opinion. Um, Also, when you go to shows, you can see the stage, even if you're in the back. Yeah, that's a positive about being tall. Reach the tall building, tall buildings, tall cupboards. I was thinking, but yeah, just climb up to the 3rd floor. You know how it is being tall. I'm not down with tall privilege. Easier for a woman, I guess. But being short is much more comfortable for traveling. Yes, there are negative. Yeah, that the tall is one of those. There's actually a really good video. There's a YouTube channel called Counter Arguments, I think it is, and he recently did a video on privilege. I think he explained the concept really well. Like it's basically a really nerdy kind of breakdown of various different arguments into very logical explanations. It's very satisfying for my brain. Um, but yeah, he explained that tall had positives and negatives. But yeah, in terms of business, apparently being tall is good, from what I read. I'd need to double check that. And yeah, for women, being tall is not perceived as as attractive as being short to most men. But then obviously there are going to be some men who find tall women attractive, and they will find those women even more attractive because it's yeah, humans are messy, man. You know what that was? How strong are your glasses? That's strong. I can't read the comments on the screen from here without them. So I'm grateful for science in that respect. I could listen to you talk about music all day. It's so enjoyable to me. Oh, wait, no, it's so enjoyable to Mel. Who's Mel? Oh, you corrected it to me. God damn it, I was going to make fun of you for that. I'm also just over 6 foot, but I'm female, so I've been called everything from scary to unapproachable. Bloody hell, that sucks. There are definitely guys who prefer tall women and girls. I don't want to assume. This was enjoyable. Have a nice rest of your day. Thank you, Fanny. The MJ, you're a really cool person. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the live stream. Oh, thanks. That's very sweet, guys. I'm inclined to agree about EDM. I really like Hippie Sabotage. The One Who Knocks is a track I really enjoy. I've not heard of those, so I'll have to give them a listen if you have a similar opinion to EDM. Thank you for the live stream. Can't wait for the next one. I'll come up with better questions, though. What kind of conditioner do you use, though? Whatever one is cheapest to Asda. The rest of my family are all over 6 feet. I'm the designated midget at 5'6", understood. I think I'm the tallest in my family. I love music. When I was little and growing up, there was always music playing in my house. I grew up listening to music. I think I'm the same. There was a lot of Michael Jackson growing up for me, and he has tons of different genres. I have a feeling that might have contributed to me having an interest in a lot of different types of music. I have to continue studying. A very important English exam on the 25th of May. I'm trying to read The Picture of Dorian Gray in English to improve my reading skills, and I'm struggling. Well, I don't want to give you any spoilers, so I won't tell you what happens. I hope you enjoy reading it. Can't imagine how much shampoo and conditioner you use. I donated 17 inches of my hair this past summer, and I love not using so much. I was going to make a video called How Much Shampoo Do I Use? Where it's just a thumbnail of me squeezing out a ridiculous amount onto my hand. Because I have a feeling that would get good views, even if it's a stupid video. Have a nice day. Take care. All right, last question here from Favorite Firstborn. If you had to eat only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Sweet and sour. I can't go wrong with sweet and sour. You got everything in there. Sweet, sour, everything. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. Swiftest Cat quickly asking about trying D Live. I haven't looked into D Live much. I don't think I'm ready to do any kind of consistent streaming on a larger scale than this yet. But if I do consider streaming, I'll be looking into that and Twitch probably. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, fellas. It's been fun as ever. These are, have been nice. This was a bit of a heavier one talking about some of these topics, but I appreciate that you guys are open to talking about that kind of stuff. I wonder what stuff is not on the table to talk about now. That's making me think what's more controversial than freaking abortion, particularly at this point when there's these laws being passed. So yeah, maybe we should find the thing that gets me cancelled. Good idea. All right. Cheers, guys. I will see you next time. I think it's Saturday, later on Saturday, at least for me. The timetable is in the Patreon post from a couple of weeks ago, a week ago. Yeah, just look on Patreon. All right. Bye-bye.